أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسوله المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم. All praise be to Allah, and I ask Allah to bless our Prophet and Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. My dear brothers and sisters, this is the first night of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen that we were given the opportunity to reach Ramadan. As you know, in the Islamic calendar, the day starts in the evening. So tonight is the first evening of Ramadan. Tomorrow will be the first day of Ramadan, inshallah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward us for fasting the month of Ramadan and enable us to complete the month of Ramadan and to get the greatest reward. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also to make it easy upon those who have difficulty with fasting. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also to make it easy on our brothers and sisters around the world who are fasting in much more difficult conditions than we are. Whether it be in refugee camps, whether it be in people who are imprisoned and oppressed, whether it be people who are suffering from lack of food and water and poverty. These are our brothers and sisters and our children. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy upon them and to relieve them of any difficulties that they are facing. Inshallah, this will be the first of a series of short talks that we will give. But before we get into the talks, this Ramadan is a little bit different. We are used to gathering in the masjid for iftar on some days and for the Taraweeh prayer, the Isha prayer followed by the 8 rak'ahs of Taraweeh. And in most masajid, typically after the first 4 rak'ahs of Taraweeh, there's a short talk, just kind of to give people a break, but also to provide some reminder and some education. And then after the 8 rak'ahs of Taraweeh, everyone prays the witr and 3 rak'ahs in Jama'ah. And it is a beautiful time for Muslims. It's a special time because we get together, we have a sense of unity, we have a sense of accomplishment, we have a sense of being closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but also closer to our brothers and sisters. And this Ramadan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willed for us not to be able to meet in the masajid. And it saddens the heart of every believer. Every believer who loves Ramadan and loves coming to the masjid and loves praying Taraweeh and reading Quran, it saddens all of us to not be able to do so. But alhamdulillah, I remind you that this isn't the first time that Muslims were not able to gather in the masajid. There have been many other instances of epidemics and pandemics throughout the Muslim world and throughout history that prevented Muslims from gathering in masajid. The masajid had to close, and there are situations where people don't have the opportunity to gather in masajid even when the rest of us can. They might be having a job somewhere remote, they might be a soldier in an army somewhere, holding a fort, they might be falsely imprisoned, they might be. So there may be different circumstances or scenarios. They might be sick or ill. They cannot come to the masjid. So this is our time to actually feel for those people. We sometimes forget about them. But it is a reminder. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us that not everyone can come to the masjid all the time. We sometimes take that for granted. It's also a reminder from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of the value of the masjid. Sometimes when you get used to something over and over and over, you take it for granted and you think that's the norm and it's never going to change. Allah's kind of reminding us these masajid are valuable, they are important to you and to your life. And so cherish them and contribute to them. Make sure that they remain standing, make sure that they remain active. Not for me and you, but for our children and for our grandchildren and for future generations of Muslims. Just like our grandparents and great-grandparents and those before them, they kept the masajid going by attending, by contributing, by building. And we enjoy those masajid, and we must continue to think of it that way. These masajid are the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we've been entrusted to take care of them and to build them and to make sure that the tenets of the Islamic faith are observed in the masajid, whether it be fasting or praying or reading Quran. These are all quite important acts of worship that are done in the masjid. But the fasting of Ramadan does not need a masjid. We still will continue to fast as instructed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. We will continue to do what every believer strives to do during the month of Ramadan, which is to increase our ibadah, our worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And fasting is only one of them. But increasing your prayers, reading more Quran, and not just reading for the sake of reading, you certainly get a reward for that, but also trying to take the opportunity of Ramadan to understand the Quran. And maybe this Ramadan we don't come to the masjid, but maybe that gives us a little bit more time to spend on reading the Quran and learning of the Prophet ﷺ and learning the hadith. I encourage each and every one of us to also pray Taraweeh. You can do that at home on your own, or you can do it at home in a jama'ah with your family members. So I strongly encourage you to do that and not to lose steam. I know sometimes people at home, they don't have the motivation to pray Taraweeh. So they come to the masjid and they get the motivation by being with their brothers and sisters and pray. But try your best. Family members should encourage each other to pray Taraweeh and to try to stick together and really encourage each other to do this wonderful sunnah, the sunnah of Taraweeh, which is unique to the month of Ramadan. And some people pray 8, some people pray more than that. You certainly can pray, 8, 20, whatever you feel is the right number for you. Both are valid, both have been reported of the Sahaba and of the Prophet ﷺ. So it's not an issue of dispute or an issue for us to argue about. Inshallah, the plan for the month, I've been designated to give these short talks. And again, if anyone feels they want to give a short talk, please let the authorities at the Islamic Center know. And I would happily give up one of my nights to have someone else speak to us. But I felt that we should have a theme for the month. And my theme is really to every night take the life of one of the Sahaba or one of the Tabi'een and highlight. We won't have time to go through the life of every Sahabi or every Tabi'i, or even if we choose one, to go through their entire life, but to highlight certain stories or certain aspects of their life for which there's a message. So at the end, there will be a message for us to learn, a message for us to take home, a message for us to enrich our values and to enrich our hearts and to enrich our life. Because these early Sahaba and the Tabi'een, they were the ones who embodied Islam in real life. So there's Islam that you can read in a book. You can go and buy thousands of books and spend your whole life reading them. But you won't really know how to apply it until you learn about people who actually took that knowledge and put it to real life work. And there's a big difference. You can read engineering books all you want, but you're not going to be able to build a bridge until you actually do build a bridge, until you actually learn all the ins and outs and the challenges and the difficulties and the nuances. And so by learning about the Sahaba and the Tabi'een, we get to learn about what Islam really is and how it's really practiced in real life. Because Islam is not theoretical. It's not just information in a book that we find interesting or philosophical. No, Islam is a way of life. Without actual action, there's really no point. The point of Islam is to learn the knowledge and then take it and apply it in our behaviors, in our daily activities, in our actions. We must embody the concepts and the values of Islam in our everyday life. And that will be the goal over the next month, inshallah, as we do these nightly meetings. And inshallah, I'm going to try to keep it to 15, maximum 20 minutes, so we don't take too much of your time, so that you still have time in the evening to pray Isha and to pray Taraweeh and also get some rest. Because as you know, we still are in a situation where the evenings are short and the days are long. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for us and to give us good weather, inshallah, during this month. A few reminders. Don't forget, we're not going to talk about any Sahabi or Tabi'i today. Inshallah, tomorrow night we will start with the first one in the series, but I wanted to give you just a preview a little bit of what we're going to talk about. But regarding fasting, just a quick reminder. First of all, fasting is from Fajr all the way to Maghrib. So you're encouraged to wake up before Fajr and do the suhoor, which is to eat or drink something. And it doesn't have to be extensive, even just a drink of water. It's a wonderful sunnah. The Prophet told us that there is blessings in suhoor, there's a barakah. So make sure you try to do that. When you have iftar, when the time comes at Maghrib and it's time to eat and drink, make a dua. The Prophet ﷺ told us that one of the people whose dua is guaranteed to be answered is the fasting person when they break their fast. Right at that moment, if they make a dua, there's almost a guarantee that it will be answered. And there are certain du'as that the Prophet ﷺ taught us, but you can make any dua that you wish. And I ask Allah to respond to our requests and to our dua all the time. Remember also that fasting is not just abstaining from food and water. There are some other things that we have to abstain from. For example, sexual relations between husband and wife during the day are not permitted. During the night they are, but during the fasting hours they are not permitted under any circumstance. Fasting also is a time to calibrate our behavior and really be attentive to what we say. The fasting person should be kind, should be compassionate, should be caring. The fasting person should not be someone who's angry all the time, should not be someone who hurts others' feelings or insults other people or talks down or loudly to them or treats them with disrespect. On the contrary, the fasting person is in a state of purity, is in a state of being on their utmost behavior, is really in a situation where they have to not just monitor what goes into their mouth, but also what comes out of their mouth and what they say and what they do and all of their actions, and especially towards their family members. You know, we are under stay-at-home orders. A lot of us are staying at home more than we normally do, and sometimes we can get on each other's nerves. Husband and wife, children and parents, siblings with each other. Be careful. Be aware of that. During the month of Ramadan, you have to be tolerant, patient, kind, respectful. Especially, I'm talking to the teens and to the young children. Be kind to your parents. Be respectful of your parents. Don't do things that aggravate them, that bother them, that annoy them. This is a time for you to really try to change behavior. And it takes sometimes 30 days to really change behavior. So it doesn't happen quickly and overnight, but we certainly can make an effort to do so. We are not sure when the masjid will open again. The stay-at-home order has been extended to May 15. The end of Ramadan will come around the third week of May. So it's possible, if they allow houses of worship to reopen after May 15, that we could maybe have the last week of Ramadan or the last 10 days maybe be able to pray Taraweeh in the masjid. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make that happen. I ask Allah to lift this calamity that has come upon the whole world. This coronavirus epidemic has affected everyone, not just Muslims, but everybody around the world. And I ask Allah to lift that calamity. I ask Allah to give us patience. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help those who have been stricken with the disease and who are sick. And I ask Allah to also have mercy upon those who have lost their lives to this disease. It's a terrible illness. Most people get better and are able to go about their lives, but some people suffer tremendously and they end up in the hospital, they end up in the intensive care unit, and they end up dying from their disease. And so I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy upon the whole world and to really relieve us of this calamity that has struck all of us. Inshallah, we will continue tomorrow with the next short talk, inshallah. So stay tuned. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.